Well, yes, from dusty to muddy indeed. Joining me now from our Hamilton studio is the Freight Portfolio Manager for the New Zealand Transport Agency, or NZTA, Harry Wilson. Kia ora, Harry, and thank you for joining us.
Kia ora, Scotty.
Now, there's some serious problems in Pipiwai and throughout Northland's rural roads, including major health concerns, as we just saw in that track. What's NZTA doing about all this?
Look, the answer isn't just more money here. There's an issue we've all got to sit down together, local government, ourselves, the industry, the members of the community, and see what we can all do together. Now, I did the maths on this. Northland gets $155 million from fuel excise duty and road user charges. Actually, the argument about putting the road user charges back to the area would actually result in less money going into the area, so that's not it. So it's about what is the best way of spending what we've got. 1 kilometre of sealed road costs $300,000. 53% of the roads in all of Northland are unsealed. So I worked out that for the same amount of money, 155 million, you'd be able to seal 56 kilometres of the unsealed network now. So whichever way you look at it, there isn't enough money to go round. It's
interesting that you're talking money, because local and regional councils say they don't have the money to solve the community's dusty rural roads problem. So does NZTA have it, or is this a central government issue? Who's got the money? Who needs to front up for this?
As I said, I don't think the answer is in the money. And the 53% of the network is unsealed road. The same amount of money that's going in there right now would only do 56 kilometres. There are hundreds of kilometres of unsealed road. You've had a really bad summer on the back of a very bad winter, so you had that double effect where the rain destabilised some of the road, and then you also had a strong hot summer that meant that the combination meant a lot more dust than you would normally get.
But is this really good enough for these families? Is this really good enough for these families who are suffering health problems because of all this dust? That we say it's just because of a long summer?
Of course it's not. Look, I grew up in a little rural town of Turakina in Wanganui. I grew up on an unsealed road. I know what this is like. I have absolute sympathy for them, but there's no the problem is there's not an easy answer.
Harry, let's move to Rotorua now, because you're also the Regional Director for the NZTA in the Waikato and the Bay of Plenty, and you're involved in the Rotorua Eastern Arterial. What's your take on the reaction from the local hapu and community to this new road from the Rotorua Airport to Sala Street?
Well, mixed. So if you're in the community and you drive down Tanai Road, you'd be saying, thank goodness, something is just finally going to be done about the congestion or the congestion that's going to come. On Tanai Road, which is the present road, Scotty, I understand you lived in Rotorua, so you know this one. You know, there's schools, there's shops, people are concerned about the safety, getting across the road, going to school and so forth. So if you're in the community and you're living in that area, you'd be saying, thank goodness someone is finally doing something about it. If you're the property owner or affected by where the new route is going to go, then obviously you are really concerned. What does that mean for me? What does it mean for my property? What does it mean for my land and the area that I live?
And what are the plans? What are the plans for those whānau and those people who live in those areas who are going to be really affected by this new road?
Okay, so what we did is we spent 2 years talking with that community. We went through actually 3 options. So we said, you know, is it viable to do work to upgrade Tanai Road? We looked at the connection with Vaughan Road, and then we looked at the land that had been designated in 1963, the original designation, which is on that bare land lakeside between the airport and Sala Street, and said, which of those is the best option? And we came up with the old designation with some changes to it, which is what we call an alteration to designation.
Harry, I understand that hapu members walked out of one of the consultation hui, and this is a hapu who have given land for the public interest in Rotorua, and are now being told that the little pieces they have will be taken for the road. Were you at these discussions? Were you part of those discussions when this hapu walked out?
Yeah, I led it. This is a sign of respect and courtesy. Later that day I was going to be talking to the Rotorua Council, and we'd be going door knocking, and I wanted to talk to those people who are going to be directly affected by it first. That is, I owed them that courtesy to let them know before they read about it in the newspaper. That would just been utterly disrespectful. So I was not surprised by that reaction at all. In fact, it's what I expected. In fact, often those things are not as civil as simply just walking out. But again, the take I got from that meeting was people actually, though they were angry and upset, they were glad to have the certainty to know. Because when you're talking about general options, about it might be this one, it might be that or the other, they focus on the whole length of it. So now that we've got to the stage where we said this is the one that we are looking at, they now start looking at my property or their bit of land and say, what does this mean for me? Because it's been abstract in the past. So, and there's time, you know. So we're not rushing out tomorrow to buy property, to start building. We're not planning on building the road for another 10, 15 years.
What about some of these irreplaceable taonga, Harry? Some of the irreplaceable taonga that will be lost, like the cooking pools, the hot pools around that area that are going to be lost because of this road going through. What about some of those? These are irreplaceable things. We can't get them back once we destroy them.
Well, we did two things during the consultation. One, we did a cultural impact assessment, so we got a good feel for what were those things that were most important. And so as we designed the designation, we tried to minimise the impact on those areas that were most important. Equally, we actually own land that has significant urupā that won't be needed by this designation that we want to be able to swap as mitigation and so forth. Some of the designation that was designated in 1963 we're actually going to be giving back. So, you know, on balance, some of the things we're giving back are as significant as some of the things that will change.
And so how's the relationship? How's the relationship between NZTA and the locals and the local hapu at this point?
I'd say tense, but we want the conversation to continue. Look, and there are people who are putting their hands up to say, look, we want to talk with you and we can work this thing through. So yeah, it's a natural reaction and we've got time. We're not in a rush. We'll sit down and work with people.
Harry Wilson, New Zealand Transport Agency, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thanks, Scotty. My pleasure.
Kia ora. Thank you.
Kia ora.